Distinguished guests, it is my pleasure to introduce our moderator for this session, Dr. Ji Won-sa, Associate Professor in the Department of Asian Languages and Civilization at Seoul National University. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Sa.
Thank you everybody for coming to our morning session titled Present and Future of the Human Rights of Older Persons in Southeast Asian Countries. In this session, representatives of national human rights institutions from 4 countries and also the Ministry of Social Development and Human Security in Thailand will share policy and legal frameworks of each country and also initiatives of national human rights commissions and inter-ministerial efforts for protecting human rights of older persons. Each speaker has 10 to 15 minutes for their speech, and we will have a short Q&A session of 15 minutes at the end of the session. We will do this in an alphabetical order, just like the ASEAN chairmanship. Well, first we will have Mr. Ponnarada, member of Cambodian Human Rights Committee. He will present on human rights of older persons in Cambodia. Please.
Good morning, distinguished participants. My name is Ponnarada. I'm a member of Cambodian Human Rights Committee. Today, I'm very honored to be invited to participate in this forum and to be a speaker on the first session, Present and Future of the Rights of Person for Older Person in Southeast Asia country. My presentation will be on the human rights for older person in Cambodia. It is divided into 5 parts. The overview of human rights in Cambodia, national policy and legal framework for human rights for older person, Cambodian Human Rights Committee, way forward, and the conclusion. Let's move to the first part, the overview of the human rights in Cambodia. I would like to start my presentation with the word peace, as the peace is a foundation, key foundation, or we can call a core foundation for improving, developing, protecting, and promoting human rights. Cambodia has been known as for the killing field during the Pol Pot regime, and during those times, there's no human rights. Even the right to life was not guaranteed. Over the last 25 years, through the win-win policy of Samdech Mahasanabade Deju Hun Sen, the former Prime Minister and the current President of the Senate, Cambodia has achieved peace, national unity, and territorial integrity, and has attained major achievements in various sectors, including politics, economic, and society, including especially the promotion and protection of human rights and respect the rule of law. Human rights are stipulated in and recognized in the Cambodian Constitution 1993, which is the supreme law of the state, from Article 31 to Article 50, and even stating that there shall be no death penalty. It is the guarantee of the right to life. On the international level, the political will of Cambodia on the promotion and protection of human rights and the enhancement of the international cooperation is reflected through the ratification of the 8 out of 9 core international human rights treaty, conventions, and covenants, namely International Convention on the Elimination of all forms of racial discrimination, International Covenant on Economic social and cultural rights, International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, Convention Against Torture or Other Cruel, Inhuman or Degrading Treatment or Punishment, Convention on the Rights of Child, Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disability, International Convention for the Protection of All Persons from Enforced Disappearance. Cambodia has actively involved in all UN human rights mechanisms along with other treaty bodies. Since 1993, Cambodia has been the only country in ASEAN region that has welcomed the presence of the Special Rapporteur and the OHCHR to monitor the situation on human rights in Cambodia and has extended their mandate up until now. Moreover, we never deny any special rapporteur request for the country visit. In the regional level, as the ASEAN member state, Cambodia is a member of the ASEAN Intergovernmental Commission on Human Rights, we call ICHA, in the purpose of the promotion and protection of human rights in the region. The CHRC, as the representative of Cambodia to the ICHA, regularly participates in the ICHA meeting and other major activities. Let's move to the part 2, the national policy and legal framework for the rights for the older person. Actually, it is embedded in our culture and tradition that the older person is respected by others, especially for the younger person. Article 47 stated that children shall have duty to take good care of their parents, according to the Khmer tradition. And Article 36 of the Constitution also stated every Khmer citizen shall have the right to obtain social security and other social benefits as determined by the law. Furthermore, Article 72 is related to the right to health. The health of people shall be guaranteed. Poor citizens shall receive free medical consultation in the public hospital, infirmary, and maternity. Actually, Cambodia has endorsed a policy for elderly or older persons since 2003, in line with the political declaration at the Second World Assembly on Aging in Madrid. The objective was to ensure that the elderly are provided access and opportunity that contribute to or share in the benefit of the development of the nation. And this policy, the policy for the elderly 2003, was revised and transformed to a national aging policy 2017 to 2013 and was adopted in 2017. The vision of the policy is to continue to enhance and improve the quality of life of older persons in Cambodia, with the emphasis on ensuring them equal rights and opportunity. There's two goals. First is to ensure that the older persons are enabled to fully participate with the freedom of and dignity for as long as they wish on with their family, in community, economic, social, religious, political activity. And the second goal is to ensure that the younger person right now are better equipped with knowledge that enable them to lead a more productive, healthy, active, and dignified life in their old age. The national policy focuses on 9 priorities, which are to ensure the financial security, health and well-being, living arrangement, enabling environment, older person association and active aging, intergenerational relation, either elder abuse and violence, emergency situation, and preparing the young the younger population, which is the second goal of the national policy. Besides the national policy 2017 to 2013, there are laws on the protection and promotion of persons with disability, law on social security, national policy framework on the protection, on social protection 2016-2025, national population policy 2016-2013, national policy and strategy on health care for older persons 2016, etc. Furthermore, the Pentagon Strategic Phase 1, Pentagon 1, Site 4, on strengthening of social protection system and food system has objective to build the development, centralized and consistent social protection system, both the social assistance system and the social security and nutrition for all people. The continued development of the social protection system is based on the spirit of leaving no Cambodian citizen behind and expansion of the scope of the social protection system. In the Pentagon Strategy Phase 1, there are 6 priority policy programs which are to expand the healthcare, provide a free vocational and technical training for young people from poor family, establish a national social assistance program in response to the economic crisis and emergency for the poor people, for poor family, introducing the promoting the informal economic development strategy with the possible to integrate them from the informal economic to the formal economy, establish a coordination mechanism and a financial program for farmer, deploy agricultural technical officials to bolster agricultural activity across the country. In the 75th anniversary of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, His Excellency Karimi, the President, the Senior Minister and the President of the Cambodian Human Rights Committee give a pledge on the strengthening of the social protection system. And in Cambodia, every year on the 1st October, there is a celebration for the Older Day. This reflects that Cambodia's commitment to improve, develop, promote, and protect human rights for the older person. Let's talk about the Cambodian Human Rights Committee. The Cambodian Human Rights Committee, as a staff of the royal government of Cambodia, is responsible for the promoting and protecting human rights in the country. We have a mechanism to receive a complaint at the headquarters, the Cambodian Human Rights Committee headquarters, or through the mobile application. We have the CHRC app or complaint box in the prison. And then we launch a investigation and collecting data and provide a solution to the related human rights violation. Also, we provide and offer a legal assistance to including the legal advice, defense during the hearing to the vulnerable groups such as poor, family, women, children, older person with disability, etc. The CLC has a mechanism to provide human rights education to students, teachers, local authority, local citizens to raising their awareness on the promotion and protection of their rights. Further, the CLC has enhanced human rights conditions in the prison, correctional facility, private, public rehabilitation center, organization and association in collaboration with relevant authority and institution. We also responsible to draft a national report, respond to the International Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Racial Discrimination, International Covenant on Economic, Social and Cultural Rights, International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, International Convention for the Protection of All Persons from Enforced Disappearance, and the last one, the Universal Periodic Review, the UPO. The CLC, Cambodian Human Rights Committee, with the collaboration with our partners such as the Helping Age Cambodia, has conducted training workshops on human rights for older persons in the purpose of the promotion, protection, sharing experience, gathering information, input on how we improve the rights of older persons. We also participate in workshops related to rights of older persons to share thought and view on how we promote and protect the rights of older persons. Furthermore, we are always open for dialogues with relevant stakeholders dealing with the rights, every right, including the right of older persons to exchange view, thought, experience to improve on how we promote and protect the human rights for the older person. On the way forward, we should continue to implement the National Aging Policy 2017-2030, continue to expand and strengthening older person association across the country, including capacity building and their participation, and continue to work with relevant stakeholders to enhance the promotion and protection of human rights for older persons. In the conclusion, we can say that respecting older person is embedded in our tradition and culture, and Cambodia is trying very hard to promote and protect human rights for older person by including the spirit to the Constitution, national policy, strategic plan, and set out a commemorative date for the older person. And I can say that many relevant ministry and agency have laid out a lot of activity, a lot of plan to improve the life and dignity of older person. Moreover, the cooperation and collaboration among the relevant stakeholders is still a key factor to realize, to develop, to promote and protect human rights for older persons. And thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ponnarada, for introducing policy and legal framework for protecting rights of older persons in Cambodia. The next speaker is Dr. Atnike Nova SIGIRO, Ibu Ketua Komnas HAM, the chairperson of National Commission of Human Rights in Indonesia. Her presentation title is The Elderly Person in Indonesia, The Road from Welfare to Human Rights. Please.
Good morning, annyeongsimika, distinguished participants of the conference. I would like to present something about the situation on the elderly person, but in a broad manner, since I think we don't have enough time to describe in details, but I would like to highlight on how the regulation exists in Indonesia and what are the challenges in ensuring promotion and protection of the rights of older person in Indonesia. So if we see the population pyramid in Indonesia, comparing the year 1970 to 2025, we can see there has been a huge change in the composition of the population based on age. In 1970, the shape of the population pyramid in Indonesia was still the expansive type, with more of the population were the younger age generation. However, it is predicted that by 2025, the shape would change into a more constrictive type, where the composition of the population based on age is still quite proportional, but it tends to change into the constrictive type of population pyramid. According to the Central Bureau Agency, the life expectancy in Indonesia is now at the range between 60 to 75 years. So if we look at the increasing population in Indonesia from time to time, then the percentage of the elderly population is predicted to continue to increase in the future. As we can see, the percentage compared to 2010 to 2045, there is double increase on the percentage of older persons in Indonesia. Therefore, if we talk about the human rights of the older person, then we are talking about a large number of population. At the moment, in 2023, there were 277 million population in Indonesia, where the elderly was estimated as of 32.5 million. So if we compare with the population of South Korea, in total of 51.7 million, then we look at an elderly person as a population of a country. So we are talking about a great responsibility of the government as duty bearer or the state as duty bearer in ensuring the rights of the older persons in Indonesia. Before we are discussing about the consequences of the huge populations towards the state responsibility, I would like to explain how Indonesian state have regulated or defined the rights of elderly person in Indonesia. In Indonesia Constitution, the 1945 Constitution, including the amended Constitution which included human rights, the concept of elderly person is not specifically described, as the Constitution used a general language, so it is not explicitly explained. However, in Indonesia Constitution, it is stated that Indonesia as a country must care for all its citizens without any form of discrimination. But along with the general description of the duty of the state to protect its citizens, the Constitution has recognized affirmative actions in Article 28(2). This is the article concerning about human rights, which stated that everyone has the right to receive convenience and special treatment, to obtain opportunities and the same benefit in order to achieve equality and justice. So the principle of affirmative action is already included in Indonesia Constitution. Furthermore, the recognition towards the human rights of older persons has been explicitly stated in the Human Rights Law, the Law number 39, 1999 on human rights. The law recognized elderly person as one of the vulnerable groups, along with children, pregnant women, person with disability, and the poor, where the Article 5, number 3 stated that every person belonging to a vulnerable group of people has the right to receive greater treatment and protection regarding their particularities. And this law on human rights, also the law that is assigned as to explain and define the duty of the National Human Rights Institution, Komnas HAM. We have more laws that recognize elderly person as a special groups that require special protection or recognition. Law on number 13, 1988 on elderly welfare. So we have specific law on elderly welfare. And we have law number 11/2008 on social welfare, which also recognize the term elderly person. And we even have presidential regulation number 88, number 2021, year 2021 on national strategy on elderly. But if we look at the prescription in those laws and national plan, the perspective are still mainly talking about older persons as person who need care and protection, but without perspective on rights holder, as explained in the opening session, that we need to change the perspective in seeing older person as a person who needs care to a person who has rights. In health sector, the regulation protecting older persons are even more. We have Minister of Health regulation on geriatric service delivery in hospital, very technical regulations, which has recognized older persons. We have Minister of Health regulation on geriatric health service in primary health center. We have also the Ministry of Health regulation on health strategic planning and national action plan on elderly health. So health sector is probably one of the sector that recognize the rights of older person the most, but only on health aspect. Sorry. But there are challenges, although the health sector has recognized more on the existing community or groups of older persons, but we have seen the population growth where there will be and there are growing population of elderly persons, but with health problems. So we have increasing life expectancy, but not life quality. And this, even now and probably more in the future, will create problems in ensuring the fulfillment of the rights of older persons, let's say only in the health sector aspect. We have limited elderly-friendly healthcare facilities, so we have health facilities, but without sensitivity towards the needs of elderly persons. We have limited geriatric health officers. We have limited geriatric care provision under the national health insurance. So Indonesia is currently having a national health insurance which covers for whole population to be registered, and for those who are not able to pay for the pension will be subsidized by government. But the national health insurance is not following by sufficient healthcare facilities, let alone healthcare with sensitivity towards the needs of older persons. So we have a quite huge recognition in the health sectors, but very limited availability of resources and human resources. In social sector, there are several also recognitions to older persons with even social programs or social policies. On Ministry of Welfare, for example, Indonesia has had cash assistance for older persons who is living in poverty, living alone, lying sick in bed, living with no family. But the social assistance given to the older persons are very minimal. Less than $200 per year per person. So this is very insufficient. I don't think we can say this is a social assistance at all. Additional family cash assistance is also given for elderly living with family. So we have social assistance for family living in poor condition. But again, this is the amount is insignificant compared to the needs of a person, even more for older persons. Local governments, as provincial level or town or district level, some of them have developed social assistance and care. But compared to the numbers of provinces, we have 37 provinces in Indonesia, probably less than 10 already developed social assistance and care program for older persons. So we can see such programs or assistance only in big province or rich province like Jakarta, the capital, Bali, many of you know Bali, and Yogyakarta. So provinces with high regional income usually could afford to provide social assistance and care for the older persons. Interestingly, Komnas HAM do not receive much case report or complaints from population regarding the rights of older persons or the situation of older persons. What we receive as a report with many of the population coming from the older persons community are on housing rights. So we have received number of cases regarding entitlement to government housing of retiring civil servants, police or military. Because when they were active as civil or government officers, usually they are given government house to live in. But it is not given for them as property, their property. So when they reach their retirement age, then the government should take the house back. And many of these cases, there were dispute on taking back the house from the retirement persons, because then they will have problem on getting new houses for them to live after their retirement. Okay. And on rights to social security, in Indonesia, pension is not universally given for all citizens, so it is only applicable for civil servants, police, military, and employee with pension benefits. Not even private sector's employee have eligibility for pension if they don't pay for or they secure their own pension. So if we look at the principles by the OHCHR on what are the dimensions of older persons' rights, like care, participation, independence, self-fulfillment, and dignity, in Indonesia, the focus of the government are still focused on the care aspect or dimension, but we don't see much on the rest of the dimension. And if we look at the existing law and regulations concerning older persons, the awareness of the rights of elderly person is not yet mainstream in regulation and policy. I have to admit, even in Komnas HAM, we don't have yet a good comprehensive recognition and program on the rights of older persons. Limited resources and human resources, this is always the argument made by governments, especially in developing countries. Therefore, the fulfillment and protection of the rights of older person, I think, in line with the fulfillment and protection of other rights of other groups. We need a progressive realization, but we need the commitment for government to realize the agenda. And for Indonesia, we have a diverse social, economic, culture, and geographic conditions, as we consist of more than 13,000 islands, 37 provinces, different ethnicity, languages, a level of educations and income, and therefore it is almost impossible to have one universal program to protect the rights of older person. And for Komnas HAM, we have mandate and duty for promotional and protection of human rights. For promotional, I will not explain, as I think it is quite similar for other promotional approach. But on protection approach and duties, Komnas HAM could receive complaints. And as I explained earlier, we haven't received much yet on the situation of the rights of older person. So we have Ibu Eva here. She will explain why probably it was or it is very rare for the older persons to make a report to Komnas HAM. In the past, Indonesia had National Commission on Older Persons, but in 2021, the commission was suspended by the president. The rationale background on the suspension was probably more on the effectiveness of bureaucracy. So we should see who would complement or take the role in ensuring the promotional and the protectional human rights for the older person. Komnas HAM, we have to improve and develop a specific approach on older persons' rights in the very near future, Ibu Eva. And I'm glad that we are invited here and to meet in person with Ibu Eva, and hope we will meet again other stakeholders in Indonesia, and therefore we can develop a specific program and approach on older person in Komnas HAM. Again, we need to do that along with conducting policy research and making recommendation on issue concerning elderly persons to relevant state institutions, whether it is the executive body or the legislative body. So as I said, since now there is no National Commission on Older Person in Indonesia, there should be probably an initiative from different institutions, and as Komnas HAM has the duty according to the law on human rights, which mentions specifically older person. So we plan to take up the issue of older person in our annual program and activity and our institutional approach in the very near future. For conclusion and recommendation, as we can see in Indonesia, charity and incremental approach in addressing the situation of elderly person exists, but far from sufficient. So we need an integral and comprehensive approach, which include multi-sectors approach to protect different kind of rights, not only health rights, but also housing rights, social security, public facilities, participations, and many more. And we hope that the fulfillment of protection of the rights of elderly person will be conducted through progressive realization, but a stronger commitment by government. And we look forward for partnership between and among national human rights institutions with government, civil society, and private sectors. So with that, I would like to conclude my presentation, and I look forward to discuss it in the discussion session. Thank you, 감사합니다.
Thank you very much, Dr. Atnike. Among others, from your presentation, we learned a lot about the importance of multi-sector approach to rights of older persons, I think. The next speaker will be Mr. Chu Chi-ming, the Commissioner of Human Rights Commission of Malaysia. His presentation title is Towards Promoting and Protecting Human Rights of Older Persons in Malaysia. Mr. Chu Chi-ming, you have 10 to 15 minutes. Yeah, please start.
Thank you. A very good morning, and a big thank you to the organizer, Dr. Lee from the Global Aging Center, ASEAN Global Aging Center, Mr. Song Soon-hwa, the Human Rights Commission of Korea, and EU delegation, Her Excellency Maria Fernandez. This indeed is to focus all of us attention on the rights of the older people. We have very little opportunity to discuss this in an open forum, and this forum is a very good opportunity for us. this is the content of my talk. The Human Rights Commission Sohakam of Malaysia was established under the Human Rights Commission Act of 1999, and we are now celebrating the 25th anniversary. The year 2024 also celebrate the amendment to the Sohakam Act, and we now have three commissioners that are concentrating on child rights, and we have a new commissioner on disabled person. And just last week, we have a new human rights chairman. So the function of the Human Rights Commission is to promote awareness and provide education related to human rights, to advise and assist the government, and to recommend to the government the ascension of the treaties of international instrument in the field of human rights, and to inquire into the complaint regarding infringement of human rights. So the law is very important, all right? The international treaty guide us to receiving complaint from the public. These are the powers given under the Commission. We conduct research, we advise the government, we conduct public inquiries, and then the annual report that we submit to the Parliament is being debated for the first time, right, during the last 25 years. And that's quite an achievement for Malaysia with a new government in power now. In Malaysia, the older person is classified to be over 60 years old. As a result of increasing life expectancy, Malaysia by 2030 will be classified as an aged population with 15% of our population older than age 60. Malaysia is a very diverse country with different stages of development, right? So Hakam have got offices in Kuala Lumpur and offices in Kuching, Sarawak, and in Kota Kinabalu in Sabah. The issues of human rights in all these regions are quite diverse, right? And the oldest state in Malaysia are in this state of Perak, right, which we call it a retirement state, right, followed by Penang, right. Penang got a very big industry, and so the population tend to be younger, but the proportion of older people are also very big. Sarawak is the third state, right. The population of 2 million, we are expecting to be the first state in Malaysia to hit the age status in 2028, right. But it's a lot of challenges because of the big size of the state. Penang, the responsibility of the aged care is usually based on municipalities, right? The city council, the local government will have particular specific policy and plan to look after the older population. In Penang, they got a think tank, and they have implemented the Penang Island City, but to implement the age-friendly initiative that was introduced by WHO in 2023, like concentrating on outdoor spaces, building, transportation, housing, social participation, inclusion, civic participation, etc. Sorry. The main challenges for the older person in Malaysia include, like similar to Indonesia, is the health problem and chronic health situation. The other big issue is the financial security and economic well-being. Malaysia, unfortunately, do not have a national health insurance, and we do not have a national social services, right? So very much of the responsibility goes down to civil society and individual person. Although similar to Indonesia, we have only received 2 complaints about abuses of older people in the last Universal Periodic Review, right? So the complaints are very few from the ground, similar to what they experience in Indonesia. But despite that, we work towards advocacy, like organizing roundtable discussion, visit to old folks' home and elderly care center. We conduct the review of law. Malaysia do not have a older person law that is still in limbo in the government, in the AG chambers. And we publish our report, issue press statement, but the international engagement is the most effective way whereby the issue was being entertained by our government. All right. We conducted sort of forum on the economic, social, and cultural rights in 2023 in Kuching, involving both civil society and the government departments. Right. And the same forum was conducted in Penang as well, right? In March this year. And then we visited many elderly care homes, right? The Eden on the part in Kuching was picked up to be the best practice to adopt our best practices. The government centers in Kuching, like Rumah Seri Kanangang, right? The occupancy is very low because of the strict criteria the government have imposed for eligibility to enter this nursing home. So that was what we reported. The religious organization, the faith-based organization are also very active in providing health care, retired nursing home for the older people. In Penang, the Penang Buddhist Association look after people who have got no families looking after them. So the eligibility includes those single elderly people. All right, those with families will be not admitted today. So the rules of admission to nursing care centers are very diverse based on their religion and their circumstances. There's no uniformity. We have a follow-up, this is in August 2023, meeting with the government of the state of Sarawak. Because of the nature of the legislation, each state have got their own responsibility of delivering social care. So municipal level, state level, right, and we got federal level. They all have got brief to look after the social welfare. And as it happened with the 3 levels of healthcare, nobody is quite responsible. Then we have a follow-up in February 24. Again in Penang. So we are still looking at the discussion with the government about the changes in laws implemented to apply to look after the rights of the older people. I think the establishment of the Older Person Bill will be very instrumental to how to create a framework of how we go about. Although the government promised that it will be tabled next year, but we haven't seen it yet. As I mentioned before, we appreciate our partnership with the other ASEAN members with the Global Alliance, right? Because these are the issues that brought focus to aging in our country. And through the press statement, we bring attention to the government about the pending disaster or crisis that is happening to Malaysia. I was reminded by our CSO partners, right, Dato' Tunku Asain, who I met for the first time, that with the international collaboration, we are meeting with people who've got 20 over years experience in elderly care, right? Yeah. While we in Sohakam, the discussion was that the commissioner are working not full-time on the issue because we have got many other responsibilities as well. We attended the workshop in Manila last year, but the Universal Periodic Review is the most effective instrument for us to bring attention to the government. We have received over, I think 200 over recommendations from overseas country, and the government have dealt with it. 348 recommendations from other countries. So international engagement is very important to pressurize to our government to do something about the rights of the older people. So we continue to work on the wide range of human rights issues, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chu Chimi, for your presentation. To me, it was impressive that different localities, state governments of Malaysia have proactive policies for protecting the aged population, because maybe Malaysia has a federal system of government unlike other Southeast Asian countries, right? Our next speaker will be Mr. Beda A. Epres, Commissioner of Human Rights of the Philippines. He will present about the challenges and opportunities human rights of older persons in the Philippines. Mr. Epres, you have 10 to 15 minutes for your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Excellencies, representatives of international and regional organizations, national human rights institutions, civil society, honorable participants, a pleasant morning. First, let me thank the ASEM Global Aging Center, NHRC Korea, and the European Union for making my attendance here possible, and for the opportunity of making this presentation to all of you. It is with great honor to have this opportunity to speak on behalf of the Commission on Human Rights of the Philippines and share with you the current situation of the human rights of older persons, good practices of the Commission on the protection and promotion of these rights, and recommendations to enhance the impact of this work. My presentation is contained, flashed on your screen. It will contain a brief profile of the Commission on Human Rights, current situations and key challenges of older persons in the Philippines, existing human rights framework on the human rights of older persons, the mandate of the government and non-governmental organization, as well as the programs of human rights of older persons of the Commission on Human Rights and our ways forward. The Commission is an independent A-status national human rights institution created under the 1987 Philippine Constitution, primarily mandated to conduct investigation on human rights violation against the marginalized, vulnerable sector of the society. Section 18, Article 13 of the 1987 Philippine Constitution provides the mandates of the Commission and highlights our key responsibilities and initiatives. On the protection services, we proactively investigate all forms of human rights violation, particularly those affecting civil and political rights, whether initiated by us or reported by individuals. We offer legal measures, preventive actions, and legal aid to underprivileged individuals whose human rights have been violated or are at risk. On the promotional service, we run programs focused on research, education, and information dissemination to foster a culture of respect for human rights. On our policy services, we recommend effective measures to Congress for promoting human rights and ensuring compensation for victims of human rights violation and their families. We also monitor and report on the Philippine government's adherence or compliance to international human rights treaties. On prevention services, we engage with stakeholders to implement mechanisms that prevent torture and related abuses. We create tools to prevent human rights and gender-related violations. We exercise our authority to visit and inspect jails, prisons, and detention facilities to ensure compliance with human rights standards. These initiatives reflect a general overview of our commitment to protecting and promoting human rights throughout the Philippines and for Filipinos living abroad. Sorry for that. So flash on your screen are the location of our offices in the entire Philippines. So we have a main office which is located in Manila. We have 16 regional offices, 6 sub-offices, and 2 provincial offices. The aging population is expanding rapidly across the globe. According to World Health Organization estimates, by 2030, 1 in 6 people worldwide will be 60 years old or older. And this number will reach 2.1 billion by 2050, with 2/3 residing in low and middle income countries. Furthermore, the population of individuals aged 80 and above is projected to triple from 2020 to 2050, reaching 426 million. Particularly in the Philippines, statistics indicate that life expectancy at birth has been on the rise. In 2015, the estimated life expectancy at birth was 68.41 years. Since 1990, females consistently had a higher life expectancy at birth compared to males. In 2015, the life expectancy for females was calculated at 71.95 years, almost 7 years longer than the 65.04 years estimated for males. Looking ahead, the average life expectancy at birth in the Philippines for 2035 to 2040 is projected to reach 75.68 years. Women are expected to live to about 78.34 years, while men are projected to live to 73.01 years. While increased longevity highlights advances in human development and health, this swift demographic shift also underscores the inadequacy in protecting the human rights of older individuals. In the Philippines, older persons face several challenges in upholding their rights. On age-based discrimination, older individuals often experience prejudice and biases that limit their opportunities for employment, social engagement, and access to services. This discrimination can lead to marginalization and a decrease in their overall quality of life. On inadequate social security, as mandated by Republic Act Number 11916, beneficiaries of the social pension for indigent senior citizen of the Department of Social Welfare and Development shall receive a monthly stipend of 1,000 Philippine peso per month, or equivalent to approximately $17 US. Many older persons do not receive sufficient social security benefits, leaving them vulnerable to poverty and financial insecurity. The pension system may not cover all older adults, and the benefits provided may be insufficient to meet their basic needs. Unrestricted access to healthcare. Older persons frequently encounter barriers to accessing healthcare services, including high costs, lack of transportation, and insufficient geriatric care. This limited access can result in untreated health conditions and decreased overall well-being. On lack of autonomy and involvement in decision-making. Older individuals often find themselves excluded from making decisions about their own lives, whether related to their care, finances, or living arrangements. This lack of participation undermines their autonomy and can lead to decisions that do not align with their preferences or best interest. On protection from violence, neglect, and abuse, older persons are at risk of various forms of mistreatment, including physical, emotional, and financial abuse, as well as neglect. These abuses often go unreported and unaddressed, leaving victims without the support and protection they needed. Addressing these issues requires comprehensive policy reforms, increased awareness, and dedicated resources to ensure that the rights and dignity of older persons in the Philippines are upheld. The duty to provide care for older persons involves both the family and the state. Under our Constitution, the family has the primary duty to care for its elderly members. The state partakes in this duty through the national government agencies, particularly the Department of Social Welfare and Development and the Department of Health and local government units. The government must implement statutory and specialized programs and services for older persons, such as residential care services, specialized hospitals and daycare facilities, and non-government organizations and the private sectors also play an important role in the provision of care by setting up and providing care facilities, among others. Republic Act number 9934, or the Expanded Senior Citizens Acts of 2010, is a social welfare legislation intended to benefit our Filipino elderly and provide them additional privilege, and mandates the creation of institutional mechanism that will focus on addressing the concerns of older persons in the country. There are the Office of Senior Citizens Affairs, or OSCA, in each local government unit, and the National Coordinating and Monitoring Board, or the NCMB. The OSCA is in charge of planning, implementing, and monitoring programs in pursuance of the law and to assist senior citizens in filing complaints against individuals and institutions. The NCMB is an interagency mechanism in the national government for coordinating and monitoring the implementation of the law. The monitoring of the situation of older persons can be looked into by the National Commission on Senior Citizens, which is mandated to have primary role in looking at the situation of older persons in all settings. Pursuant to Section 2 of Republic Act number 11350, the NCSC shall promote the advocacy of a collaboration between stakeholders and senior citizens to ensure the effective implementation of various programs and services, particularly on the development of senior citizens in advancing their health, well-being, and ensuring a supportive and enabling environment for the elderly. Despite the significant advances in the national legislation, the COVID-19 pandemic has revealed and worsened existing shortcomings in the protection of human rights of older persons. Moreover, there is still an absence of a universally applicable standard that provides a comprehensive reference for safeguarding the rights of older individuals. The current international legal framework fails to fully address specific protection gaps, resulting in fragmented and inconsistent coverage of older persons' rights in both legislation and practice. Recently, there has been a growing call for stronger measures to ensure the full realization of human rights for older persons, both regionally and globally. Reports from the United Nations Secretary General, the OHCHR, and the independent expert on the enjoyment of human rights of older persons have highlighted existing protection gaps and recommended the adoption of a legally binding instrument to effectively address these issues. In 2023, the open-ended Working Group on Aging began developing intergovernmental recommendations to address these protection gaps, drawing on consultations with various stakeholders. These recommendations were reviewed at the recently concluded 14th session of the OEGA in May 2024 and presented to the UN General Assembly. This process presented a crucial opportunity for national human rights institutions as well as civil society organizations to strengthen their advocacy, urging states to establish mechanisms that will pave the way for drafting a new UN convention dedicated to the rights of an older person. The promotion and protection of all, including the rights of older persons, has been at the forefront of the agenda of the Commission on Human Rights with the Philippines. As a national human rights institution, we endeavor to solidify this commitment by leading and actively engaging in various programs, cooperations, consultative meetings, and advocacy work to identify the issues and challenges relating to the human rights and to identify opportunities and strategies in protecting and promoting the rights of older persons. At the national level, the Commission contributes in the advocacy by actively participating in legislative and policy work, providing spaces for civil society and government to engage, discuss, and address issues concerning older persons, inform and educate state officials and public about the rights of older persons, and monitor the status of enjoyment of human rights. In the Philippines, the Commission on Human Rights actively works with the legislature as well as the executive branch of government to enact measures that will improve government capacity to the enjoyment of all human rights by all older persons. The Commission provides avenue for the civil society, representatives of older persons, national government agencies, and the legislative staff to meet and discuss issues confronted by older persons. In August 29 of 2023, the Commission on Human Rights, together with the National Human Rights Commission of Korea, organized a two-day hybrid workshop, and the product of this workshop was a call to action wherein the national human rights institutions should have worked hand in hand in advocating for the drafting of a new convention. As national human rights institutions and civil society organizations, we have a responsibility and opportunity to champion the rights of older persons. I therefore call upon each and everyone present to urge respective governments to take a more active and visible role in advocating for the drafting of a dedicated convention for the human rights of older persons. This convention is essential for the promotion, protection, and fulfillment of the rights of older individuals, ensuring their dignity, equality, and participation in society. Let us unite in our efforts to advocate for this vital cause. By supporting the creation of this convention, we can address the specific challenges faced by older persons and work towards a world where their rights are fully recognized and respected. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you very much, Mr. Epress, for sharing the situation in the Philippines. Yes, we have challenges, but also opportunities which can be amplified by collaboration like this. Our last presenter of this morning will be Ms. Ramrong Orawat. She is not a Human Rights Commissioner. She's a Director General from Department of Older Persons, Ministry of Social Development and Human Security of Thailand. The title of her presentation is The Human Rights of Older Persons in Thailand. Please, Kun Ramrong, you have 10 to 15 minutes. Just like that.
Thank you. Okay. Good morning, everyone. Today, I will present the human rights of older persons in Thailand. I will present three main topics. The first topic is demographic situation and ministry urgent measure of older persons. The second one is the human rights for older persons in Thailand. And last one is suggestion and way forwards. Let's start with the first topic, demographic situation and ministry urgent measures. First of all, what we mean by older person? Here are those who are all above 60 years old. Now, Thailand has over 13 million older adults, or 20% of the total population. We can say that Thailand has become a complete aged society. In 2033, it is expected that Thailand will become the super aged society, and we are the second highest aging population in ASEAN, after Singapore and followed by Vietnam. Moreover, death outnumber births in Thailand. As the birth rate continues to decline, it leads to a decrease in the working age population, but an increase in need for state welfare, which affects its administration. To mitigate the impact of population crisis, Thailand has launched 5 urgent measures as an operational framework, which including promoting healthy behavior, enhancing economic opportunities, and improving digital literacy, developing basic infrastructure for community elderly care, promoting age-friendly, and fostering the linkage and exchange of database to ensure integrative operations. To achieve in implementing these measures, collaborative mechanisms need to be addressed. The policy mechanism is the National Plan on the Elderly, which is now in the 3rd phase, and consists for sub-action plans. Sub-action Plan 1, Preparation for Pre-aging Populations. Sub-action Plan 2, Enhancing of Older Persons' Quality of Life and all dimensions, equality and equity. Sub-action Plan 3, Reformation and Integration of Administrative System to support aging society efficiency. Sub-action Plan 4, Enhancing of the potential of research on the development of technology and innovation for an aged society. Implementing these measures necessitates collaborative mechanism. One of the important collaborative mechanisms is the Integrated Plan for Aging Society. This plan aims to promote preparation for equity, aging among pre-aging population, and improvement of livelihood among older persons. The plan outlines 5 key directions including promoting participation in preparation for an aging society, enhancing vocational skills, advancing social protection, modifying environment and facilities to better suit the needs of older persons, and developing system and innovation of elderly health care. The Department of Older Persons, or DOP, and the Office of the National Human Rights Commission of Thailand have similar responses in promoting and protecting human rights for older persons and promoting cooperation with related stakeholders. In addition, the Department of Older Persons responds for promoting rights literacy, such as through social media, the elderly school, and community caregivers, fostering a society where older persons can live with dignity and respect. The Office of the National Human Rights Commission of Thailand also responds for monitoring and report human rights violated, policy and law revision suggestion, annual report on human rights situation. Thailand also has legal mechanism to cooperate relevant sectors in operating mission regarding older persons' affairs. The Act of the Elderly serves as a legal mechanism for ensuring that the rights of older persons are protected, promoted, and supported. As you can see, according to Section 11, older persons shall have the right to access benefits such as medical services, occupational training, extensive provision of housing and food, and long-term care for the dependent elderly. We promote rights literacy, so older persons can access their rights and support scheme as mentioned on the slide, especially for vulnerable elderly. For example, the old age allowance scheme to Elizabeth for all Thai elderly, except those to earn the monthly allowance. If they don't know about this information, they might be not able to get benefits. For older person, having decent work means the opportunity to continue contributing to the economy and society in a way that respect their independence, security, equity, and dignity. To foster the society where the elderly can live with dignity and respect, we promote decent work for older persons, upskilling, reskilling. We also promote dignity literacy and cyber security, as well as establish the elderly school and promote collaboration with the private sector and related partners to create job opportunities. We also have the Elderly Fund to provide loans with no interest for older persons to develop careers or business, with the amount of 30,000 baht per person within 3 years. Moreover, in response in the social change, a community work approach is required to transform older persons into active and empowered individuals, and Thailand has been active operating through scaling mechanism across multi-levels. At the country level, we have the National Commission on the Elderly. At the organizational level, the ministry engaged in the integrated plan in preparation for aging society are involved. At the provincial level, we have Provincial Social Development and Human Security Office, Provincial Service Welfare Development Center for Older Persons, and Learning and Training Center on Older Persons in Chonburi Province. Most importantly, at the community level, there are centers of quality of life development and career promotion for older persons, elderly school, volunteer, and elderly clubs. We use these mechanisms to promote and protect human rights for older persons at all levels. It is important to ensure that older persons receive proper care and rights protection, especially if they are chosen to age in their own place. Therefore, the ministry has recently initiated the project of community elderly caregivers. The project aims to create inclusive care mechanisms and enhance the skill of caregivers within local communities, following the principle of community care, social participation, rights and protection, human dignity, and social responsibility. Activities under this project include recruiting caregivers, providing training on elderly care and rights, and educating them on holistic care covering health, economic, social, environmental, and digital technology dimensions. We also organize workshops on improving quality of life within 20 areas in which the project has been implemented. Over 82,000 older persons have gained benefits from the community elderly caregiver. 2, we have seen progress implementation, the human rights of older persons. There is still room for improvement and suggestion. Firstly, strengthen cooperation between government sector, private sector, and related stakeholders, especially CSOs, NGOs. Secondly, some policies and laws revision need to be addressed to promote and protect human rights. Lastly, promote the rights for better quality of life of older persons, such as the right to adequate housing, right to health, and right to income security. In closing, I hope that what I shared today will show the big picture of Thailand's implementation of human rights of older persons. Thank you. ขอบคุณค่ะ
Hey, ขอบคุณค่ะ Thank you very much, Ms. Ramrong, for letting us know of the interministerial efforts and also community-based approach to protecting human rights of older persons. Okay, we now have like 7 to 8 minutes for Q&A session. So please, if you have any question, make it succinct. Yeah. Anybody in the hall?
Thank you. I'm Yu Kyung Park from National Human Rights Commission of Korea. I'm the focal point for the GANI Global Alliance of National Human Rights Institutions working group on the rights of older persons. Actually, I don't want to be the person to be in between you and your lunch, so I'll be brief. I actually have a comment, not a question. So I noticed that several of, while you were speaking, there was this term elderly coming up several times. And I just wanted to mention that we try to use the word neutral and human rights centered word older persons, because elderly has this connotation of frailty, dependency, and weakness. So since we are at a human rights forum, and also, so maybe it'll be great to keep that in mind. And also, actually, we'll have to do awareness raising on this to change up this shift of terms, because that will be a more human rights centered perspective. So thank you.
So that is your question, like the comment?
Just comment.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments from the floor or questions? I actually cannot sit this way, so if there's any... We will collect like more questions, and then each presenter will have like 30 seconds to 1 minute last word. Please, Ms. Ambassador.
Can I ask one question, perhaps more to those countries that have a lot of overseas workers? So how, when these overseas workers come back, is it mainly the families who take care of them? They have been out, there is, as I heard, very weak social systems. How are they, when they come back after 30, 40 years of work outside and sending remittance all the time, how are they taken care of in a way if families don't want to or don't take care of them? Perhaps that for Philippines is a thing more. And then from Thailand, I think there is there in other countries the system that Thailand has of in the Ministry of Social Development or any other ministry department dealing with older persons in a particular way or not, or the Ministry of Finance, or is it led more local communities, state, in case of Malaysia or others. That will be my questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your question. I saw like, yeah.
Yes.
Professor.
Yes. I have a very minor question to the Dr. SIGIRO from Indonesia. And you said that the pension is very limited to special occupation, just like civil servant and policy, police, military, and the last word you said, the employee with pension benefit. I really can't understand what you mean by the employee with pension benefit. Can you explain what is the benefit, what the employee with the pension benefits?
Okay, thank you, Professor, your question. Maybe we have like room for one more question from the floor. Okay, if we don't have any more questions, let's just do final words from, in alphabetical orders, just like presentation. If you don't have anything to answer, you can just keep your turn.
Maybe I respond to Her Excellency Maria question. Malaysia has got a lot of foreign workers, and there are many sectors that when we visit them, especially electronic sector, unfortunately, the workers there are all very young. I think their working life there is about 10 to 15 years. I think the company tend to keep employing younger people than the older people, and usually it's the female gender that working in an electronic factory. And I think during that 10 to 15 years, they are expected to save enough money to improve the condition at home, right? That is a situation among the domestic workers as well, right? So it's very, very much self-managed retirement saving that they have to do.
I would also like to add, to answer the question of Her Excellency. In the case of the Philippines, we have the Department of Migrant Workers, and as well as the Social Security System. Most of migrant workers can contribute to the Social Security System, and upon reaching the age of retirement age, they'll be able to receive pension. Now, the pension would depend on the amount of their contribution, and since they are migrant workers, there's no counterpart contribution from the private corporations that they are paying. So it's good that there's a new corporation, a new government agency, the Department of Migrant Workers, who are also looking into the welfare of our migrant workers as soon as they come back to the Philippines. Thank you.
Thank you. For Thailand, the social protection system to take care of the vulnerable older person. We have the 12 social development centers across the country to care for the poor elderly. The one live alone, no family to care for, and older person who's violated. But the space is very limited. And we also have volunteer caregivers, community elderly caregivers, and foster family to support aging in place. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Choi, right? Yeah. This could also answer to the Ambassador Fernandez question. What happened with overseas labor or migrant workers who return back to their home country? What happened to them will be the same as others who do not have pension scheme during their retirement age or old age. It is because in Indonesia, statutory pension only applicable for civil servants, the police, and the military, while workers or labor from private sectors, they have to pay their own pension scheme during their working times. So it covers by the employer and employees. Since we are dealing with labor flexibility where it is difficult for someone to have permanent work jobs until their retirement age, and then it is difficult for someone to secure funds for pension. If you don't pay for your national labor pension, then by the time you can no longer work, you don't have any pension. So you have to rely on savings for your old age life. So this apply to migrant workers, non-permanent workers, informal sectors. So this is the reality in Indonesia. We don't have a national pension system which cover universally. I hope that answers. Thank you.
For Cambodia, it is the same as Indonesia. We have no, actually we have the private sector for paying the pension, the scheme, if they're working in Cambodia. But for the migrant worker, they have to depend on their saving. And I can say that if they come back and don't have, cannot support themselves, they can request for the social security funds. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. If nobody has further comments, okay, we will end the morning session. Thank you very much for the presenters again, for your great presentation on policy and legal frameworks in protecting the rights of older persons in 5 Southeast Asian countries. And yeah, it's lunchtime. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sir. This brings us to the end of session 1. I hope you had a meaningful time, and I'd like to thank all participants for their active engagement. We'll have a lunch break from now until 1:20 p.m. when the second session starts. Speakers and distinguished guests, please be guided to the jade room on the same floor. Thank you.